Douzé in some of her parts I. The acting of Douzé is a criticism, poor work dissolves away under it, as under a solvent acid. Not one of the plays which she has brought with her is a play on the level of her intelligence and of her capacity for expressing deep human emotion. Take the second Mrs. Tanqueray. It is a very able play, it is quite an interesting glimpse into a particular kind of character, but it is only able, and it is only a glimpse. Paula, as conceived by Mr. Pinheiro, is a thoroughly English type of woman, the nice, slightly morbid, somewhat unintelligently capricious woman, who has gone wrong, and who finds it quite easy, though a little dull, to go right when the chance is offered to her. She is observed from the outside, very keenly observed, her ways, her surface tricks of emotion, are caught, she is a person whom we know or remember. But what is skin deep in Paula as conceived by Mr. Pinheiro becomes a real human being with a soul, in the Paula conceived by Douzé. Paula as played by Douzé is sad and sincere, where the Englishwoman is only irritable. She has the Italian simplicity and directness in place of that terrible English capacity for uncertainty in emotion and huffiness in manner. She brings profound tragedy, the tragedy of a soul which has sinned and suffered, and tries vainly to free itself from the consequences of its deeds, into a study of circumstances in their ruin of material happiness. And, frankly, the play cannot stand it. When this woman bows down under her fate in so terrible a spiritual loneliness, realizing that we cannot fight against fate, and that fate is only the inevitable choice of our own natures, we wait for the splendid words which shall render so great a situation, and no splendid words come. The situation, to the dramatist, has been only a dramatic situation. Here is Douzé, a chalice for the wine of imagination, but the chalice remains empty. It is almost painful to see her waiting for the words that do not come, offering tragedy to us in her eyes, and with her hands, and in her voice, only not in the words that she says or in the details of the action which she is condemned to follow. See Mrs. Patrick Campbell playing the second Mrs. Tanqueray, and you will see it played exactly according to Mr. Pinheiro's intention, and played brilliantly enough to distract our notice from what is lacking in the character. A fantastic and delightful contradiction, half Gamine, half Burne-Jones, she confuses our judgment, as a Paula in real life might, and leaves us attracted and repelled, and, above all, interested. But Douzé has no resources outside simple human nature. If she cannot convince you by the thing in itself, she cannot disconcert you by a paradox about it. Well, this passionately sincere acting, this one real person moving about among the dolls of the piece, shows up all that is mechanical, forced, and unnatural in the construction of a play never meant to withstand the searchlight of this woman's creative intelligence. Whatever is theatrical and obvious starts out into sight. The good things are transfigured, the bad things merely discovered. And so, by a kind of naivete in the acceptance of emotion for all it might be, instead of for the little that it is, by an almost perverse simplicity and sincerity in the treatment of a superficial and insincere character, Douzé plays the second Mrs. Tanqueray in the grand manner, destroying the illusion of the play as she proves over again the supremacy of her own genius.